you saw alien ships.
Yeah.
Did you knowingly lie when you said you had actually seen anti-gravity propulsion in operation? No.
Countless theories, conspiracies, and even whistleblowers have come forward in support of the existence of extraterrestrial life, but none were able to gain the prominence that Bob Lazar did. Bob Lazar, who has now become the face of extraterrestrial conspiracy theorists, used to seem like a fairly ordinary man, up until the day when he put forth some shocking revelations no one was ready for. He is a self-proclaimed physicist who one day declared that aliens exist. Not only did he put forth this radical claim, but he also said that they have visited Earth multiple times, and the US government knows about their existence and continues to hide it from the public. On top of that, he adamantly stated that he was hired by the US government to reverse engineer alien spacecrafts and technology in an extremely well-hidden military base in the desert of Nevada.
My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base known as S4 out in the Nevada desert near Area 51. And there, we reverse engineered alien spacecraft.
But were his claims really true? Was it all just an elaborate story or a facet of reality that we never knew of? Join us as we dive deep into the bewildering case of Bob Lazar, the UFO whistleblower. Claims made by Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar, born Robert Scott Lazar on January 26, 1959, is a physicist who claims he was contacted by the US government to reverse engineer advanced alien aircraft in order to understand their propulsion system during the 1980s. According to Bob Lazar, he applied for a job at EG&G, a US national defense contractor, while he was living in Las Vegas. He claimed the job stated that he would have to work on advanced experimental propulsion systems. Working at a test site in the Nevada desert, he quickly understood that this technology seems decades or even centuries ahead of what humans can accomplish. Bob Lazar has stated that the technology he was working on was the size of a basketball, which was able to create a gravitational field of its own. This technology was supposed to have originated from the Zeta Reticuli star system, which is a binary star system roughly 39 light-years away from Earth. A gravitational field is created when an object gathers up enough mass, but there are no known methods available to us through which a gravitational field can be created with just a flip of a switch. Deciphering and understanding such advanced technological components to see if similar technology could be replicated on Earth using the equipment available to us was the job given to Bob Lazar. This reactor was able to create a massive gravitational field without the need for wires, but somehow did need electricity to function. In Bob Lazar's own words, this seemed like borderline magic. Over time, these claims were debated, dissected, and looked upon from various angles in order to derive the actual truth. However, Bob Lazar has stood adamant that what he saw in those testing sites was irrefutable proof that the US government has been hiding this knowledge from the public. The reason most people believe that Bob Lazar's claims became so highly regarded in the UFO community was that he was one of the first ones to offer scientific information that carried depth and not just nonsensical claims from the viewpoint of an average person. The fact that a faction of government could be responsible for hiding such information from the reach of the general population doesn't sound outlandish either, and this made most UFO believers band together behind Lazar's claims even more. The spacecraft. The spacecraft Bob Lazar worked on was shaped like a traditionally drawn flying saucer. He has even explained it in various drawings and sketches in which he tried to explain what information they had deciphered about it. Interestingly, Bob Lazar has also claimed that he was allowed to go inside the craft as well, and he states that there were no living quarters present within the ship, no bathrooms, and only contained 3 seats. The seats seemingly were designed for a life form that would be 3 feet tall. On the bottom of the spacecraft were 3 barrel-shaped thrusters that emitted gravity. These gravity emitters were equally spaced out from each other to create appropriate lift, and also had swivel movement to either maintain balance or to change the direction the craft moved in. On top of the gravity emitters were the gravity amplifiers, which created strong gravitational waves. In the center of the ship was the main reactor that created these gravitational waves needed for propulsion. It was made up of a particle accelerator, which Lazar stated was different from the ones our scientists use on Earth. The particle accelerators on Earth are made up of a straight tube, but the one found within the reactor used a magnetic field in order to spin the particle really fast before launching it towards its target. This type of particle accelerator is called a cyclotron particle accelerator, and they do theoretically exist. The entire ship functioned without the need for any cables, meaning that a wireless power source was needed to power the craft. S4 Base. In the vast desert of Nevada, near the vicinity of Area 51, another infamous location surrounded by conspiracies of hidden alien equipment and technology, the secret base was located. It was carved into the side of a mountain and contained large hangar doors, which were painted in order to camouflage them from prying eyes. According to Bob Lazar, all of these extraterrestrial findings were being examined at that secret base in the Nevada desert, which was known as the S4 base. He claims that a total of 9 extraterrestrial ships were present in the base of multiple shapes and sizes. Each craft contained different mechanisms and was fully operational. A large, individually working team was present at the S4 base, and each group of the team was told to focus on a single aspect of the craft without letting them know of the other aspects. This is a method used by various governments in order to compartmentalize secret information and protect it from getting leaked. Lazar's description of the S4 base gave the understanding that it was just as interested in scientific exploration as it was in keeping this information well hidden. Soon after Bob Lazar's claims, S4 became the focal point of various other conspiracies as well. For some, it was even considered a vault of secrets kept under wraps by a shadowy part of the government. Element 115. Bob Lazar states that an element, which was unknown to us at the time, was used as fuel to power the basketball-sized reactor. This element was called Element 115. How this element created such powerful effects is still unknown, but it was thought to have created the anti-gravity effect needed for traversing vast galaxies at extremely high speeds. Element 115 was one of the factors that made various physicists doubt whether Lazar's claims were true or just conspiracies. But he still strongly believes that if element 115 is harnessed in the right way, it can help form a new kind of propulsion system never seen before. According to Bob Lazar, element 115 was not naturally found on Earth. Therefore, it was given to the facility in batches to experiment on. Lazar explained that element 115 created a specific gravity A wave. This wave was then amplified by the reactor, creating the lift needed for traveling through vast distances in space. He also explained that this method of travel did not push the craft toward its destination like traditional propulsion, but rather, it pulled the destination towards the craft itself by manipulating gravitational forces. Up until 2013, Bob Lazar's mysterious element 115 did not exist on Earth. However, by a collaborative effort made by Russian and American scientists, synthetically produced element 115 was formed. This element was named Moscovium. This elusive discovery of the fuel caused a huge stir in the UFO community. Some believed that Moscovium would now help revolutionize how we traverse through the stars, but in reality, the discovery of Moscovium turned out to be a form of proof for anyone who was denying Lazar's claims. Moscovium is a super-heavy element that has 115 protons. This means that it is rapidly decaying and cannot be formed for more than a few nanoseconds. Bob Lazar claimed that in certain otherworldly conditions, element 115 or Moscovium is naturally occurring and can be used to power such spacecrafts. Whenever claims of such magnitude are made, a great amount of criticism is always to be expected. Skeptics and critics started digging into the history of Bob Lazar in order to understand his motivations and the credibility of his story. Interestingly enough, some major anomalies started to come forth about the credentials that Lazar claimed were true. He had claimed to have studied at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology (MIT), as well as the California Institute of Technology, also known as Caltech. However, not a single record was found claiming that he studied in any of the two institutions. Conspiracy believers claimed that his records were thoroughly cleaned from both the institutions, and this was done as a government cover-up to further discredit his claims. But in the eyes of the critics, this may not be as simple and possible as it sounds. In order to remove every single footprint left behind by Bob Lazar, not only records, but memories would have to be erased as well. Another point that most critics put forth was the presence of the S4 testing site. Unlike Area 51, which is declared as an actual military base in the Nevada desert, the S4 base has neither been found nor has anyone been able to locate it on the map. And if Lazar did work on the S4 base for such a long time, he should be able to provide some coordinates or any specific landmarks in that region. Disregarding all the other criticism can be understandable from the point of view of most conspiracy theorists, but one irrefutable fact still remains. Element 115, or moscovium, which was claimed to be the fuel for the gravitational reactor, contained properties that went completely against the laws of physics. After scientists were able to create moscovium synthetically, even though it was just for a few nanoseconds, it was clear to them that it did not show any properties that were in line with the claims made by Bob Lazar. Even more so, the ability of moscovium to create gravity A waves was questionable at best. Many physicists also noticed that Lazar's explanation of how these gravity A waves were created by the element lacked nuance and depth that one might have if they had studied advanced physics, pointing towards the possibility that it was all a hoax. Nevertheless, the firm believers were always able to come up with some form of explanation, no matter how far-fetched it might have seemed to the critics. The story of Bob Lazar and the extremely outlandish claims he has put forth can be taken as a sign that life might exist out in the expanding voids of space, or it can be taken as the ramblings of a man who might be out of touch with reality or motivated by infamy. But one fact continues to be true, that the details Bob Lazar declared in 1989 have not changed ever since. His story still continues to be the same as it was, and it has led him to financial and professional ruin, as well as general humiliation among his critics. The burden he has carried on his back acts as further proof for the believers that his experience was indeed true, and this opens up a universe of possibilities that might exist out there in the cosmos. Thank you for watching.